if you're like me, then your sales have probably fallen off a cliff. Ever since the week of Thanksgiving, my sales have literally come to a complete halt. I rarely wake up to an offer or a sale these days. It's just really depressing. So I wanted to make a video all about what I am doing to combat slow sales this season. If you've been reselling for a while, then you know that this industry is very much subject to seasonality. And typically the slowest months for reselling are June, July, aka summer slowdown, and December, because really consumers are not looking to buy pre-owned inventory come Black Friday, come holiday shopping. They're really looking for gifts. And that's true for me, that's true for most of us. That's just the reality of consumer behavior at this time of the year. However, luckily, January is, historically for me anyway, a much better month. In fact, it's oftentimes one of my best months of the year. So there is something to look forward to soon. But the question is, how can we get through the month of December? We're not looking for a record-breaking month, but what we're looking for is to stay cash positive in our business, be able to pay ourselves, and to really keep some forward momentum. So that's why I want to talk about 5 ways I am working to do that within my reselling business. Okay, so number 1, and this is something that I do year-round in my business, but I'm really leaning on it now, is leaning on automation. And I'm a huge believer that within your reselling business, you should be using automation as much as you possibly can. You should be using softwares. Just because you can do it all yourself doesn't mean that you should. Oftentimes, a software or a bot or a program can do it better than you can. And I definitely think that's the case when it comes to Poshmark. I use this software called Posher VA, which I automate all of my offers to likers, which is probably the biggest way that I make sales on that platform. And I also send out bulk offers on occasion. So yesterday I actually sent out a bulk offer of 30% off everything in my closet, and it generated a few sales, which was much needed, and I was really, really happy that it did that. But then I'm also sending out offers to likers immediately after someone likes something in my closet. I literally can only do that by using automation because I'm not on my phone all day, every day. And I think setting your settings so that it's sending it 1 minute after someone likes something, really important, because that's when they're on the app, that's when they're expressing interest, and that's when you're most likely to generate sales. So that's what I'm doing. I might change my offers to likers. I might increase it. I had it at 30%, and then I put it back to 20% for my current business model, but I think I'm going to revert it back to 30% for this month, and then maybe switch it back to 20% in January. I just think having a steeper offer to liker, giving a steeper discount will incentivize more sales, and then being much more regular and disciplined about when I'm sending those bulk offers in my closet as well. And then the other thing I'm doing, which I highly recommend, is just sharing as often as possible on Poshmark, because sharing still does affect the algorithm, and so you want to show up higher in search as much as possible as you can. Number 2, be aggressive about moving older inventory. My best sales month this year was March, and I made a lot of videos about being really aggressive about moving older inventory that month, and my whole motto was "Move It March." And I really want to carry that sentiment into this month as well, and every month here on. Actually, I really want to liquidate as much older inventory as I possibly can. The main ways of doing this is lowering prices, relisting inventory, and then of course accepting almost any offer on older inventory. If I've had it for longer than 90 days and I accept a lowball offer, I am going to actually consider it. Of course, there are exceptions. There are certain pieces that I'm willing to hold out a little bit longer for, but generally I am just in the business of moving inventory and trying to keep things moving. So really, if I've had it longer than 90 days, it's time for it to find a new home. Number 3 is to keep listing new inventory. This is really important for eBay in particular. Poshmark's algorithm, I see people talk about this online, but as far as I know, Poshmark, there's nothing within the Poshmark app itself that would prioritize closets or listings that have regularly listed inventory. Nothing within its algorithm really puts any weight on that, but eBay it does. So eBay is going to push items higher in search if the seller is spending a lot of time on the app and is regularly listing. So it's really important to maintain consistency on eBay. I do find, honestly, that it's hard to maintain consistency during these months because you'll list, and nothing your listing is selling. During months like October or September, it was way easier to list because oftentimes I would list and then the next morning I would have a sale. But I think it's important to list with either one of these two goals in mind. Either think about January and think about everything you're listing in December is going to then be available in your closet in January when there will be many more potential buyers, or think about providing a deal to the potential buyers that are still currently on the pre-owned marketplace. So you're essentially kind of rewarding for being there and allowing them to get a really good deal. So I would either price normally with the expectation that it will sell in the next month, or price lower and just try to move that inventory quickly. Okay, number 4 is when you're sourcing, source looking ahead. So at this point, I wouldn't go out trying to find new with tag inventory. I think it's a little bit too late for that. If you wanted to do that, September, October would have been the right months to do that. Whenever you're sourcing, I think you want to be sourcing looking 1 to 3 months ahead. So when you're sourcing now, it's a good idea to be thinking about what's selling in January. Activewear is always going to be a really good one in January. Shoes, jeans, coats are still doing well. Source looking ahead. But then also, now is actually a really good time to be sourcing. Even though it's not great for sales, it is sometimes really good for sourcing because, especially at Goodwills and traditional thrift stores, people are donating right now because they're trying to squeeze in tax write-offs before the end of the year. Oftentimes, a lot of wealthy people are donating for this reason. So it's possible that you find really, really good inventory at your Goodwills. I don't think that's true everywhere across the country, but in certain parts it definitely is true. However, it's hard to go out sourcing right now when nothing's selling. You're gonna run into cash flow issues if you do that too much. So I do understand if you don't want to pursue that strategy. And if you don't, that leads me to the 5th thing that I'm doing, which is to focus on the piles of inventory that you have laying around. So I think most of us have some sort of death pile, whether it's a pile of things that need to be repaired, pile of things that need to be stain treated. For me, it's returns. Actually, I have a bunch. Pile of things that need to be taken to consignment. Look around your office, look around your home, and find things that you have that are already existing, that you've already spent money on within this year, that you can get listed and can get processed, that you've been procrastinating. I think now is a really, really good time to do that, and that's what I am aiming to do hopefully this month. So those are the 5 things I'm doing. Just to recap, I'm leaning on automation. I'm being really aggressive about moving older inventory, maintaining consistency, and I'm continuing to list newer inventory. I'm taking advantage of sourcing opportunities and sourcing looking ahead. And then I'm also focusing on clearing out my death pile, clearing out my stain pile, and processing returns that I've been procrastinating. So I hope that's helpful. I'm definitely very curious to hear what you do during slower months and how you really aim to combat them and what strategies help you to increase your sales. But this is something that I've been thinking a lot about, especially since my sales have really plummeted in the past week and a half or so. And I want to be proactive. I want to do everything in my power to increase sales while still understanding that this is an issue of seasonality and there might not be all that much I can do to mitigate that. But if I just maintain consistency, stay focused on the month ahead, and really prepare myself for that, then at the very least, I can do that. Anyways, thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, love y'all. Bye.